And this is an amazing stat, Jeff. I haven't seen a stat like this in a long time. That just shows the consistency of the Steelers. This is most recent top 5 draft pick for each franchise. And look at the Steelers. It's not even close. There's not even teams that are in the like the 1900s, right? The Patriots are 94. The Steelers, the last time they had a top 5 pick, they picked Bradshaw, was 1970. You know, they always say you got to be really bad before you can be really good. But one thing about the Steelers, they've been good and really good at times, but have been really consistent.
I don't know if you heard this, Richie, but they haven't had a losing season in quite a while.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know that, Jeff.
You're welcome. Anything to help.
All right, big night for LeBron James. 40,000 points. First ever player to do that. You know, I mean, is he the greatest player to ever play? I don't think so. I still think it goes to Jordan.
I'm going to steal a Jeff Capel line. I think Capel says it well. And Michael Jordan's the best player ever. LeBron had the best career ever. I think that's a nice way of putting it, to where you can give credit to both guys, because I don't think we're going to see 40,000 points. I know people say, oh, look at the scoring now. What about Luka? I don't think Luka is going to be as the same maniacal shape that LeBron James is in. I mean, that dude is chiseled for 39. That's crazy, the kind of shape he's kept himself in, and he's been playing in the NBA since he was 18. So I don't know if anybody else will have that type of run. LeBron's had a few injuries, but nothing major, and kudos to him, because, man, this guy works really hard at keeping himself in shape. And I don't know if every player is cut from that cloth, even some of the great scorers that we're watching today.
Yeah, not many, and that's the big thing with him. And he's like the Sidney Crosby of the NBA, one of the first guys out there at practice, probably one of the last guys to leave, a hard worker, you know, just dedication. He lives, breathes basketball. So that's a huge number, 40,000 points. All right, let's stick with basketball. Let's go out to Jim in Peters Township. How you doing, Jim?
Hey, how you guys doing? I have to say I'm biased. I'm a Pitt grad, 1975.
Okay.
I'm going down my buddy down to the Meadows. I live in Peters. I'm putting some money on Pitt. And I'll tell you the reason why. Look at
money for Pitt for what? What, winning the next 2 games, or what?
Well, there's going to be a bet on the 16, and there's going to be a long shot on the tournament. You might think I'm crazy, Richard.
You are crazy. That is crazy.
Okay. Well, let me just talk for a minute now. Pitt in '74. The reason why they're so good, they played as a team. Now, you could have a better superstar, but you have to play as a team. Now, look at the spread out of the team. You have Carrington, 27 points. He's a freshman. He may be one and done. You got Lowe. And then you're not even talking about the big man. you know, Hinson. When Hinson can go in and out, he's tough. And then you got Federico coming from the outside. Hey, I watched the ACC analysis after it, and they all thought that Pitt can do damage. All
right, Jim, I'll give it to you. I think the Panthers can beat anyone, but also they're a team that can lose to just about anyone. If Blake Hinson isn't on, forget about it. We just saw that, and we've seen it a couple times this year. Maybe it has changed now, but, you know, Carrington's another player that potentially could carry this team. Hopefully he sticks around, and Lowe next year too.
Yeah, Carrington, you can forget about the one and done for the NBA. He's not ready for the NBA. I mean, he's had a nice season. He's not an NBA player right now. I mean, maybe he'll be one and done at Pitt because some other team will offer him a hell of a lot more money and he'll go somewhere else. That's a scare for every team, for every roster across the nation. But when you have 20 assists, and there's an old phrase that the ball has energy, meaning if you pass it, like that ball can move around, you can beat defenses that way. That's a lot of what Pitt did. And I think really the key to their season when they're on, yeah, it's Blake hitting threes, but it's Jalen Lowe. When Jalen Lowe is distributing and he's scoring, you know, he's scoring a little bit, they're a different team. And that's where they really changed. When Lowe got into the starting lineup because of the Leggett injury, they got better. That was right around that 1-5 start. Jalen Lowe was a higher recruit than Bub Carrington is, and I think he's a better basketball than Bub Carrington, better basketball player.
Well, he's showing it. Bub Carrington had a great game today, 7 3-pointers, freshman record, 27 points, career high. Let's keep it with Pitt basketball and go out to John in Cranberry. How you doing, John?
Hey, Rich and Jeff, thanks for taking my call. It's always good to talk to you.
John?
I was going to talk to hoops, but the gentleman just stole my thoughts before us. So I'm going to go to the Penguins, and I wanted to ask you guys, they're winning tonight. It's early. It's 1-0. But let's say they split on this road, the rest of the road trip. Let's say they win tonight and lose to Edmonton. if you guys, Rich and Jeff, if you're Kyle Dubas, what do you do if you split this road trip? Do you trade away Gensel and others on the deadline, or do you just, hold on to everybody and make a run for it? Thank you.
John, I blow it up. I try to trade as many guys as I can right now because I don't think they're in it. What are they, about 7 to 8, 9 points within the wild card? Or if you're looking at the Metro, these are important games tonight, and you have 3 more left after tonight before that trade deadline. And Dubas basically said that they're going to have to make a decision. And I think the decision is trade away a Gensel because you might not even be able to re-sign him, right? Get whatever you can for him. Get whatever you can for Riley Smith, whatever these guys. Just trade them away.
Riley Smith, I'm into trading. I don't think he likes it here. I don't think he's happy here. I think you can get something for him. I think there's some value there. I'm into that. I think you have to have an idea with Gensel if you can sign him. Listen, your chips are all in already. You've signed these contracts. You have this old team. You're playing to win now and then let it fall off the cliff. So I'm not into a big blow-up right now and having those 4 guys with, some younger guys so they can be a middling team for the next couple of years. Like, if they think they have any chance, I'm keeping Gensel because Gensel gives me an opportunity to get in the postseason, and then you have that hope that you're able to get a run. But a guy like a Riley Smith, somebody like that, yeah, I'd be into trading that.
But this team is hovering around 500, Jeff. I mean, what else can you do? Like, even if they make it to the playoffs this year, and I don't think they will, they're not going to do anything. They can't compete with those high-end teams.
Richie, I agree with you, but blowing it up and still having a bunch of these old guys under contract isn't going to get you anywhere. So maybe you can have some miracle run because in a couple of years, you're going to fall off the cliff. You were talking about the Steelers not having a number 1 pick. You know how many number 1 picks the Penguins have had over that time? Or top 5 picks the Penguins have had? That's what's allowed them to recycle through and have a couple of different dynasties. Take this all the way to the edge and fall down to where you win 20 games. I'm good with that. Hey, seriously, I'm 100% serious. I don't know what your value is for Gensel, but if you think Gensel can help you win now, you're all in to win now. Like, even if you trade a few guys, you're going to still be sitting at that half line.
And I guess the worst case scenario, if you do what you say, you have $6 million off the books and you'll be able to sign someone else, even if you can't trade them. Let's go out to Will in McKees Rocks. How you doing, Will?
Hey, guys. How are you tonight? Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling, Will.
No problem. I was wondering if I could talk Steelers and ask you a question. I was wondering if the Steelers plan on using the franchise tag this year at all.
I don't see. I don't see if there's even anyone worth using it on. Who you're going to? You're not going to use it on
Freiermuth.
And Fryer.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess Freiermuth
has one more year. So yeah, Mason Rudolph is the guy. You're not going to use it on him.
Yeah. Yeah, and so imagine if you did, and he would cost you $34 million.
What I thought was interesting, the report about Justin Fields out there, because I was out in the combine, and everyone that I talked to, basically the Steelers were out of it. They're not interested in Justin Fields. Too much of an ask. They want to give Kenny Pickett a chance. But hey, Adam Schefter just said today that the Steelers are still in it, potentially for the right price, along with the Raiders. It sounds like things have fell through with Atlanta. This is becoming interesting, and it's kind of like what we talked about yesterday, Jeff. I mean, if you can get a guy that you might think is your franchise quarterback, I guess you got to go get him, right?
The guy's got crazy talent. I know there's a knock against him because of what he did with the Bears. I don't know how good those Bears teams are. I'm not saying he's a finished product, but he's had a couple of games where he's thrown 4 touchdown passes in a single game. He can run the football almost as good as Lamar Jackson. He is a dynamic playmaker. He would give you an upgrade at the quarterback position. I think he's worth taking a chance on because the risk-reward, especially if you're not giving up much, if he flames out, so what? At least you went after a guy that has some chops, that has some ability, that's shown it in the NFL, even if it's only been a few times, maybe under the right system and, with better coaching around him, and you hope that would be the case with the Steelers, that he could do something.
Yeah, and you'd only be stuck with him at most 2 years if you have to let him go. Let's go out to Mike in Homestead. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Rick and Jeff? This going to go back to the top five, where the Steelers haven't drafted, in the top five since 1970. But really, let's take a look at things. When have we really been relevant? We haven't had a playoff win since 2016. This is a team that I think that is still living in the past. Yes, it's all about the standard. It's all about tradition. Come on, guys. This team still needs to move up and catch up with the rest of the NFL.
I totally agree with you. You got to be really bad before you're really good. I agree at that point, but hey, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. We saw it with Pitt basketball, Jeff. You can make moves and you might not even make the playoffs or might not even have a winning record.
And I would say to his point, probably 2017 is the last time they were relevant. Listen, they were relevant a few times, and Tom Brady made them irrelevant, unfortunately.
You need a quarterback to be relevant. They got to solve that problem. And we got to take a break. Back in a couple of minutes.